There are very few games I would call perfect. I'm not one for sweeping absolute statements, but it's with perhaps the tiniest hint of nostalgia clouding my judgment, I would award such an honour to Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. And I mean perfect in the most literal sense, in that it has no obvious flaws. I want to talk for a moment about what I consider the perfect platformer, and why it should be the template for others of its type. Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island was released in 1995 for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. While originally the game was to feature pre-rendered 3D sprites, much like Donkey Kong Country, creator of the Mario series Shigeru Miyamoto was unhappy with the decision, as he didn't like the style made by these filthy westerners over at Rare, and so he helped develop a different graphical style, which we now see in the final product. This decision turned out to be a pretty good one, as the hand-drawn storybook style sprite work has become synonymous with the Yoshi games as a whole, with some notable exceptions, where they experimented with other visual ideas, such as Woolly World of Woolly World. Yoshi's Island's visual style has a playful, childlike spin on the already cartoonish Mario world. It's like each and every frame and instance was drawn by the world's most talented team of 6-year-olds, and I'm saying that as a compliment. There's such cheerful and imaginative energy captivated in every sprite, and as I go on you may see this same attitude blanketed across everything from the animations to the level design. The backgrounds look like they were crayon drawn and animate subtly like living papercraft, and the foreground environment is drawn with these thick black outlines and vibrant colours. Remember colours in video games? I think what impresses me more than even the visual style is the love poured into the animation. Yoshi, as well as other characters and enemies, are packed with expression despite just being 16-bit bunches of pixels. Just look at the cute walk cycles in some of these enemies. Or how the Shy Guys sometimes just stop and look side to side as if they're daydreamy or confused. You instantly get this feel for what each minion's personality is just from a few subtle tells. These are the baddies, but you can really feel like they're their own character with their own cartoonish personality. Yoshi's Island was also one of only 4 SNES titles that contained the FX graphics chip, which allowed the system to do more complicated renderings of large sprites, and do sprite rotation and some simple 3D geometry in real time. The game's art and visuals aren't the only things that were lovingly crafted, however. As you can probably hear, the music in this game is fantastic. Its multiple tracks can portray a range of feelings while staying within that overarching tone of being this fun, energetic storybook. I particularly like the mid-boss track as it feels like a wacky, adventurous scuffle until partway through where, just for a few seconds, the tone of the song changes as if to remind you that there's still a lot at stake here. And what exactly is at stake, you may ask? So the game starts by showing you the stork being attacked by Kamek, the Magikoopa, as the stork's carrying 2 twins to their new expecting parents. One of these babies, wearing a green hat, is successfully kidnapped while the other one, wearing a red hat, falls from the sky to a place called Yoshi's Island. Kamek can see that in the future these twins will be a big problem for the Koopa Kingdom, and in particular the king of the Koopas, young Bowser. So he sends his minions to go find the missing baby at once. Meanwhile, the Yoshis decide to take the baby Mario in a relay system to find and rescue the captured twin. It's a simple story, but it's important in that it weaves this into the actual gameplay. Probably the most notable is how you take damage in this game. Rather than having a number of hits you can take before losing a life, or having a HP bar, the game instead gives you a timer. If you get hit by an enemy, Baby Mario will fall off your back and float in a bubble around the screen. During this, a timer will count down to 0, and this is how long you have before Kamek's toadies arrive and kidnap him, so you have to pop the bubble to get him back before the timer's up. The timer can be refilled by picking up stars or going through checkpoints. It will also recover to a maximum of 10 over time, as long as you don't get hit in that time period. It's an interesting system that I've not seen used in any other platformer. It kind of reminds me of Sonic's ring system in that you have to quickly recover by grabbing an item on the screen after getting hit. It forces you to stay cool under pressure but gives you a second chance. It makes you think about your environment despite the urgency. You'll eventually figure out quick ways of getting Mario back, like how you can shoot your tongue out to grab him from further away, or that the eggs thrown at the bubble will fling it closer to Yoshi. I'm not sure if this would work well in many other games, as I think everything from the themes to the size of the screen and the size of the sprites in Yoshi's Island lends to this being an effective way to teach the player about movement and caution through failure. Yoshi's Island differs to mainline Mario games in many other ways too. As mentioned, one of your main moves as Yoshi is the ability to shoot out your tongue at length whenever you want. Hitting most enemies with this will actually cause Yoshi to store them in his mouth. You can then spit them out at other enemies, or swallow them to create an egg. You can have 6 eggs at once, and they can be used as projectiles. You can line up and aim in most directions, with straight down being a notable exception. These eggs can be used to defeat enemies and solve puzzles. Yoshi's other interesting move is his flutter jump. Hold the jump button and you will float slightly at the end of your jump arc. After the animation you can even do it again, and so timing these flutters becomes a vital skill for navigating levels smoothly and reaching secret areas. These few skills are all you really have and all you'll really need for the whole game, as it's the game's impressive level design, and particularly its variety, that causes it to never stop being enjoyable from beginning to end. And the variety really is staggering. Although some levels share a visual similarity, with each of the 6 different worlds having a particular visual theme, pretty much every single level in Yoshi's Island introduces a new concept, gimmick, or idea. Heck, sometimes more than one per level. One level you'll be turning into a helicopter and flying through the sky collecting coins. One level you'll be solving puzzles by rebounding eggs off of walls at targets. One level you'll be taking copious amounts of drugs and stumbling around towards a goal ring. And the enemy variety doesn't stop either. Many levels are based on introducing a new enemy type and then putting you through every situation the designers could think of involving the mechanics of that particular new enemy. This amount of new and fresh ideas is one of the things that impresses me about this game. I think these days we're so used to reused assets, borrowed ideas, and stifled creativity in video games that it's just so refreshing to see an endless stream of surprises as you move through this title. You can feel the creative freedom from the developers. You can tell they had fun coming up with new ideas, with secrets, and with trying to surprise and subvert the player's expectation. And even today this holds up. Probably partially because I haven't really seen games heavily take inspiration from Yoshi's Island, like they would from, say, Mario Bros. 3 or The Legend of Zelda. There are some games you could say just wouldn't exist if Mario 64 or Ocarina of Time hadn't come out first. But despite the sheer originality seen in Yoshi's Island, I can't really recall anything that was directly inspired. But maybe that's a good thing, because we still have something completely unique that doesn't feel like it's aged today. And I could go on for an age about this game. I said nothing yet of secret huts, the scoring system, and bonus games and levels. I've not mentioned how the game carefully teaches the player each mechanic and move in a natural and entertaining way. I've yet to express to you how perfect the level of challenge and the slow climb of difficulty is. But I do want to leave most of this to you to experience yourself. One last thing that I can't help but mention is that this game has some of the coolest, most inventive boss battles in any 2D game I can think of. Not all of them are mind-blowing, but they're all interesting. And there's one or two that really catch you off guard with how they subvert the usual gameplay, catching you out with a brand new playstyle that you have to quickly learn how to master while under threat. Yoshi's Island was re-released with some changes on the Game Boy Advance. I never played this version, although I did read the list of changes, and I would recommend playing the original if you can, as the GBA couldn't handle some of the interesting things the FX chip could do with the game's sprites. Yoshi's Island for me is a game without flaws, a rare title that I can't pick fault with. I'm sure there are those out there who can, and perhaps I've just been a little bit too close to the game all my life to see them. It's games like this that inspire me to love the medium as a whole. Games with personality, flavour and joy that are made by creative people with a love for the product and the characters they are creating. Games that look at both the details and the cohesion of the entire structure, and treat both with a level of polish and love that is extremely rare these days. To me, Yoshi's Island is the perfect game, and my favourite 2D platformer. Thank you for listening to me talk about this. I love having the ability to talk about stuff I'm passionate about. And if you want to help me do this, do more videos like this, then consider dropping me $1 on Patreon so I can get better equipment and also eat food. You'll be added to the credits of future videos as a thank you. I also do streams from time to time over at twitch.tv/VoxelStar. And sometimes some friends join me too, and so come check us out over there. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time.